Hey y'all, we're gonna get into this live review of LAMH Huntsville Season 6, Episode 30, titled Houston, We Have a Keke. Now, I know the reunions have come out already. I know. Just please bear with me, y'all. I'm trying to catch up. Okay, but we're just gonna get into this review. And if you enjoy it, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't enjoy it, make sure you dislike, share, comment, and subscribe. Well, let's get into it. So, they pick up back off where they were doing the trust fall exercises, and Nell is telling them that they're going to be paired up with the person that they have trust issues with the most. And Martell is like, oh hell nah, and that it's gonna be fucked up. And Marcel says that, but they all have trust issues, and Nell says exactly. So that's what makes it interesting. And then Chris is like, okay, I'm gonna pick the first two. He says Tisha and Stormy, and Tisha already whining, saying that they're good though, they're on the same team. And Kimmy is like, well, that was a no-brainer. Like, girl, hush, don't nobody want to hear this. Y'all just you do this. And Stormy and Tisha attempt the first trust fall, and Tisha totally fails, but kind of plays it off by like flicking her hair back, and everybody laughs because it was funny. But Stormy is like, "Girl, I'm right here, right here." And then Nell tells Melody and Martell to do the trust fall thing, and you already know Melody's not feeling that shit. And then Martell's face is like, And in our confessional, Melody says that when you're breaking away from someone, the last thing you want is for people to keep putting y'all together, and that the trust with Martell is gone. Like, she trusts the ground more than she trusts him. And then Nell counts down, and Melody falls to the floor instead of in Martell's arms, and everybody busts out laughing but him. And it's his turn to fall, and he tells Melody that he's the father of her children and that she just need to catch him. And she's looking like, boy, please. And nobody else in the room laughed at what he said because it's not fucking funny. And then Martell does the fall, and he falls his ass. And now, and it was actually funny because all of them were actually laughing. And the fact that he thought she was actually going to catch him is even funnier. But in his confessional, Marcel says that when Melody didn't want to catch him in the trust fall, he says that it was expected, and starts to talk about how Melody doesn't want to seem weak with other people around if she would have caught him, and basically giving in to him. And like, he says this every time, like, Melody just doesn't want to seem weak, Melody doesn't want to give in to me. And it's like, boy, she don't fucking like you. But I had to rewind the show back to see if he still had on his wedding ring, because remember, he was sitting at the dinner table and it was like, Martell, this ring, where does the ring come from? He was like, it's mine, it's mine. So when I rewinded back and I saw that he did still have his wedding ring, and I'm just like, you are not that important. And even if years later they do happen to get back together, Melody and Martell, that's fine. It is what it is. Like, hopefully it'll be once they off the show. But he's just been looking very, very, very thirsty. And he even said, oh, that's just wishful thinking, him having his ring on. But like, boy, she don't want you, friend. She don't want you, not even a little bit. But excuse me, y'all. And now it's Courtney and Marceau, and they do the first successful trust fall of the event, and everybody applauds. And Tisha attempts to catch Stormy, and low key looked like she was trying to let her fall. Like, she let her fall way, way back before she actually caught her. But I thought it was funny. And in her confessional, Tisha says that she may have had a moment of hesitation, but she has to believe that Stormy will catch her like she did, like Stormy caught her, and they finally got it right. And then the camera shows Keke arriving to the house, and she comes in, and Stormy is actually excited to see her. And in her confessional, Tisha says she doesn't know why Keke is here, but Lord knows that they already have enough drama going on in the group already on their trip, and she's not even angry at Keke right now. She's just done with her. But Keke is getting all the hugs around the room, and then Nell tells everybody why she invited Keke there, and that the day before, Keke called her and said that Melody asked her to give Nell a call, and that basically because Keke wanted to have a chance to move forward with everybody that's in a group, and that they're doing team exercises and stuff, and that they do have things that they need to mend and differences and stuff. And then she turns the floor over to Keke, and Keke apologizes to everybody who was at the barbecue for cutting up at the function, and she apologized to Tisha for throwing a drink and violating her personal space, and that she just wanted to speak her piece, and that she's happy to be there. And Tisha doesn't accept nor deny the apology. She just drinks her water and nods her head. And it's quiet, and then Chris asks Kimmy and Maurice if they accept Keke's apology, and Maurice says yeah, but it's been over a month. And Kimmy agrees and says that it should have happened in the moment, and Keke says that she didn't know how to face Kimmy and Maurice after disrupting their celebratory moment. And then Kimmy says a month and a half or whatever later it's kind of too late, and then they ask Tisha if she accepts Keke's apology, and Tisha honestly looks like, I know you're not talking to me, like I know you're not asking me that. But her facial expressions is like, I know, like, what do you mean? Do I accept her apology? Like, she threw the drink on me, but she says, yeah, sure, just to get it over with. And then Nell says that, well, what she has to say is that it was hard for her, and Tisha walks out of the room. And Nell continues to say that Keke's whole thing had been weighing on her, like this whole Keke thing had been weighing on her because she didn't want the trip to be ruined for everybody. And she doesn't want anybody to pack up and leave, and she starts to cry and get emotional, and Melody and Stormy are like, oh, don't cry, and they walk up to her. My thing is why are y'all comforting her when she made Tisha uncomfortable? I would walk the fuck out too, because I don't really want to hear that. I don't want to be in the same space, like nothing like that. But then Melody and Keke give Nell a hug, and Nell says that she doesn't want anyone to feel out of place. And Marceau says sorry to Nell, I guess for crying, but rightfully so. He goes looking for Tisha. And in her confessional, Tisha says she feels like she's in a twilight zone, and that this isn't the same group of people. Like, isn't this the same group of people who witnessed her get assaulted by Keke, and now she's prancing along? And she thought that they all had agreed that it wasn't cool what Keke did, so why is she there? And then, like my title says, y'all gonna give Tisha a break. Y'all keep ambushing her like this, and it's just beyond out of control at this point. And as I'm learning more about triggers and stuff like that, Keke did assault Tisha, and whether it was minor or not, you know, they have a history from childhood, and y'all keep bringing her ass back to Tisha's face, expecting her to forgive Keke. Like, please just leave her alone. Give her some space. Like, y'all don't get it. They got 40 years of this shit, you know? Like, she wants a break. She's done. And doing this shit on TV, I will be more annoyed too, because it's like y'all intentionally playing with me. But then Marceau checks on Tisha while she is drying her tears, and he asks if she's upset. And she's like, yeah, she feels played. And Marceau says, yeah, but it's okay. And Tisha says no, because at the end of the day, both Nell and Melody knew that Keke was coming, and both of them could have talked to her, and nobody said anything to her about it. And then Chris comes prancing in, asking if they're good. And Marceau says no, Tisha and Nell need to have a conversation because she was blindsided about the fact that Keke showed up. And Chris nods and says that he gets it. And Marceau says that it was definitely worth a conversation prior to coming here. Like, not even just Keke showing up, for them to show up. And then Chris asks if they're going to come back in, and Tisha says yeah, but she just needs to get herself together. And then back in the room, Melody is like, she felt like everybody was receptive before Tisha and Marceau left the room, so she doesn't know what happened. And I'm just like, girl, stop acting like you don't need a time to decompress yourself whenever some shit's going on. Like, you love walking off on people, but as soon as it's Tisha's turn, don't nobody want to give her no slack. This is the same shit I be talking about even with Spice and Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Y'all always give the dark skinned girls a hard time. She got to be perfect. She can't do shit wrong. She can't cry. She can't laugh. She just got to be stoic, just sit there, not do anything. 2 shows I'm reviewing, and y'all treating the dark skinned girls the same exact way. Who's the other dark skinned girl? Married to Medicine, Quad. Y'all won't give Quad no fucking break. And granted, Quad, she don't like y'all no way. But it's just the point. Like, y'all always treat the dark skinned girl so crazy. Y'all ostracize her. She can't do nothing wrong. Everything has to be perfect, when half the shit don't even be Tisha's fault. But anyways, Chris says that Chris tells Melody and them that Tisha will be coming back and she just needs to give herself a minute. And Nell says that she's gonna go talk to her. And like I said, it's crazy that y'all comforted Nell and not Tisha. Like y'all all bozos, and Nell didn't even get a drink thrown in her face. But everybody hugged Keke and hugged Nell, but didn't even hug Tisha when she was the one who got assaulted. It's so backwards, and watching this shit on TV makes it 10 times cringier because yeah, everybody doing it for a check, but y'all doing this on TV allows girls like me, any dark skinned girl to get treated that type of way because y'all allow this shit on TV. But then Nella comes into the kitchen with Tisha and Marceau, and she asked them straight up, do they want Keke to go? Do they want her to leave? And Marceau was about to leave out of the kitchen because he thought it would just be Tisha and Nell talking. But Nell says that she told Keke that this may not go the way that she wanted it to, and says that she agreed to allow Keke to come before she really knew what she agreed to, and that she knows Keke said that she had spoken with Melody and Chris was totally against the whole thing and that they had been arguing about it. And then Marceau tells her that he doesn't think that they understand Tisha and Keke's relationship. And Keke says, oh no, but Tisha says that Melody is very much aware of she and Keke's relationship. And I was about to say the same thing. Like she gets mad when they put her in a group with Marcel or whatever, but it's cool for her to do that to somebody else. And you know, she probably got mad after Tisha told her that she looked like Martell with them glasses on when they was in the hot tub or whatever, and she was just like, "All right, I got something for your ass. Let me get Keke down here." But it's going to backfire because Tisha don't play that shit. Okay. And Tisha says that she feels very blindsided and betrayed. And then she tells Nell that she knew she may not know. She tells Nell that she knows that she may not know Tisha and Keke's relationship like that. And how like tumultuous it's been. And Nell says, no, I don't know. And Tisha says, but she would have expected a conversation from her to let her know that your cousin reached out to me and I want to make sure you're comfortable with her being here. So she didn't feel blindsided. And Nell tells Tisha that she gets it and she can't even argue with her and that it's been laying on her heart since she got the phone call. And Tisha is like, I don't get it. Then why wouldn't you talk to me? And Nell doesn't really have anything to say, but she was low-key hoping that Keke just didn't show up. And then she apologizes to Tisha and says that she's not, that Keke isn't staying, and she keeps saying that she really apologizes and that she's going to fix it. And in her confessional, Nell says that she invited Keke to Houston against her intuition and because she has a soft spot for Keke, unfortunately. But unfortunately, Chris was right, and that she should have spoken with Tisha first. And then Nell goes back to the group and says that she talked to Tisha and Marceau, and it's a smack to the face for Keke to be there, and that basically she got to get the fuck out. And then Nell looks at Tisha and tells her that she told her that she come here, that she could be there unless the house was divided, and that unfortunately Keke has to go and she got to send her away. Keke said, oh, it's cool. I wasn't staying in the house anyway. And Stormy was like, oh, no, it's cool. She can stay with us. Always trying to save the fucking day when Keke is in the wrong. And Keke says that she's not going to let anyone dictate where she can and can't go, especially not Tisha and Marceau. And Tisha turns her head because she's just not trying to get active. But Nell tells Keke that this is the exact energy that she didn't want and that it's here now and that they all are going to be divided again and that they can't move forward like that. And then Melody says, but you just said you talked to Tisha. Did she tell you that it was a no? And Nell says, basically, pretty much, she said that. And then Marceau asked Melody, well, remember when you were having issues and you didn't want to be around certain people? And Melody says that she's not saying that the Scotts are wrong. All she is doing is trying to clear it up. While Stormy and Courtney sneak out of the room, and Marceau tells Melody that as a friend, this was a violation to him. She was like, what was a violation? And he's like, because you knew about Keke being here. And she was like, no, I didn't. I didn't know she was coming. And then Marceau tells Melody, remember our conversation? And I said that I didn't know certain things, all of that. And she's like, yeah, you know. And Marceau tells Melody that they get the same one story or saying one side of the story situation when it comes to Keke the same way he felt like he was getting from Martell. And Martell is like, Marceau, you didn't get all of what information? Like, I hope that's not pertaining to me. And Marceau rolls his eyes and he says, yes, like, boy, this is about you. And then they show a clip of Melody and Marceau having their conversation and basically how Martell would give the Scots one side of the story versus the truth, right? So Martell walks up to Marceau and asks, of like all of what wasn't true, like was half-assed in so many words. Marcel was like, why you all up on me like that? And Melody is just laughing. And Martell is like, what is it? What was said to you about Melody? Like, what are you saying right now? And Marcel was starting to laugh. And he says, only two of us know the answer. So if he really wants to get it straight from the Rogers mouth, then go ahead. And then, oh, by the way, did y'all know that Melody's name on Instagram is still Melody Hope? Let me just go back for a second. Hold up. Yeah, it's Dr. Melody Cherie on her thing. You can't even see it, Lord. But it says, y'all can't even see it. It's alright. It's okay. It says, if you just check her Instagram, it says Melody Hope right there. But anyways, I thought she was Melody Rogers now. Like, what? But that is her brand name now. That's what got her popular. That's what got her popping. So she got to use that name. And then Nell tells Keke that this is really a serious situation for her, and she wishes that Tisha and Keke can get in a good space, but she's trying to build her relationship with Letitia, and that she's very straightforward, and that personally she doesn't have anything against Keke, but she has to respect how Tisha feels. And then Martell's still going off, talking about how all of them are Rogers fans and that he hates that shit, and Melody walks out of the room laughing. And Courtney's trying to be funny, asking if they're still team building, and Mel says, nah, it all went to shit. And Tisha asks Marceau if he asked Melody what she did, and he says no because he ain't trying to get into all that. And Martell says exactly, why hasn't anyone asked Melody what she did? And Chris and Nell do the same shit, and Nell was like, no, we don't, Martell, like we didn't ask her. And Martell's like, you don't know shit and you trying to shut me down. And then Martell says Chris told him that everybody was always asking, what did Martell do? What Martell do? And nobody ever asked, what did Melody do if she ever cheated? And Nell says that Nell and Martell start their screaming match again. And yes, it's and she's like, I went back and I asked Melody what she had been doing, and Martell is like, that was afterwards. And Maurice is trying to calm Martell down, and then Nell says to Martell that he wants people to take sides, and he says, no, I just don't, don't keep asking me what I did when Melody did the same shit, I guess. And then Nell says that he hasn't accepted what he's done, and he hasn't said his shit, and says that and Martell says that he has, and he's not blaming Melody for anything. He's just talking about Nell, Chris, and Marceau holding Melody accountable. And my thing is, Martell, is that there's proof of your infidelity. There's no proof of hers. So even if she did, do you think anybody actually would give a fuck? Like, come on. And then Nell says to Martell that he was honest with him, and that she was honest with him, and that she's a woman first, and that she's been through the same shit with Chris, and that basically, she's not trying to blame nothing on him, but she's not going to keep arguing about the shit either. And then she walks away saying, fuck it, this is team building, because she said fuck the team building because she will slap Martell in his face. And Stormy runs after her and tells her that this whole time she's been saying how she's been trying to get everyone together. And Nell is like, girl, fuck that. I'm not going to sit here and argue with Martell and have he and Chris fighting. And Melody runs over asking Nell what's wrong. And Nell is like, I'm going to bust Martell in his motherfucking mouth. And then Tisha is trying to explain Martell's point of view, saying that he feels that everybody's questioning him and coming for him, and that Melody has never admitted to being wrong about anything. And Nell says exactly. No, Martell says exactly. But I had to think, I don't think Melody ever has admitted to being wrong about anything. And Melody literally says, I ain't got shit to be wrong about. Like okay, girl. And then Nell says that Martell is mad because she won't hold Melody accountable for cheating on him. And then she asks Mel, did she cheat on him too, so she can give her an answer so Martell can get off her ass because she gets sick of him. And then Melody bends over towards Nell and says in a whispered tone that the only time she ever talked to somebody was when she wasn't with him anymore and she never went back. Next question. And then Martell comes in asking if they good, and Nell says, right on time. I just asked Melody right on camera if she ever cheated on your ass. Are you good now? Like, did you get that? Are you happy? And Martell says, fuck right now with the cameras. I'm talking about back then when you were hurting me and coming for me, this, that, and the third. And Melody says, ooh, not him being hurt, not him playing the victim. And then Nell tells Martell that, he's a typical narcissist. And he's like, OMG. And then in his confessional, Martell says that Nell and Chris always talk about how they don't take sides, and here she is being disrespectful and taking Melody's side and pointing the finger at him like he destroyed his family. Like, nah, fuck that, Melody cheated too. We don't care, Martell, because even if she did, she ain't had no outside baby on your ass. Like, it's been 6 seasons of this shit. Nobody cares no more. And then Martell, you just mad that you probably didn't get no pussy because of this situation. That's probably all it is. Go back to Ariane. How about that? But then Martell yells at the group and says that he made a mistake in his marriage and he cheated, but so did Melody, and that basically because she cheated, he did too. And Melody comes back into the room saying, hold on, let me stop you right there, and tells Martell to tell her who she cheated with, when and where, and he says at the apartment, straight like that. And Melody says, okay, you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. And then she tells everyone that in early 2017, she found out that he had been cheating on her for the last 2 years, and she stayed with him. But then in October of 2017, she called Martell in the truck with his other baby mama, Ariane. And she didn't say Ariane's name, but y'all know who we're talking about. And she left and got her own apartment in December of 2017 and moved out, and that she and Martell didn't get back together until April of 2018. And that's it, and she leaves the room again. And then Martell says, right now it's my turn. Let's go back to before Martell started cheating. He said that Melody used to leave the house, go into a hotel for a few days, and that she would do that often. And then Melody comes back to hear his side of the story. And Martell says that after that, when after she started going to the hotel and stuff, then things started changing with sex, and sex started changing. And he started to complain, and then he complained for a year before he stepped out, and Melody is just snickering and laughing and shit. And then Martell says that again, as a man, though, what else is he supposed to do? And Stormy says that you cheated first, right? And basically he and Stormy kind of get into, okay, well, if you cheated first, then, it is what it is. She thought your marriage was over. So if she started to talk to somebody else, that really don't matter. Like, it don't matter, don't matter. And he's like, well, no, we're still married. We're still married. Like, so technically she cheated too. She did. I mean, like, my thing is everybody knows the whole separation thing, but if you are legally still married to someone and you are with somebody else while you still legally married to someone, that is considered cheating. That is the legal term. It is what it is. Everybody has a different type of way of saying it, but it is cheating. And even if she didn't sleep with nobody, she went on dates and shit, it don't matter. But then Melody takes her forward back and it's like, women go to hotels to get time and to recoup and just to decompress. And just because Martell got caught cheating after all of these years, that means that she was cheating? Like, nah. She's like, get out of here with that. And Martell says that all he's talking about is to change behavior. And Melody says that her behavior started changing because he was and still is an asshole. And in her confession, Melody says she hates that Martell is using the time that they would agree for her to take as a mother and a wife and a businesswoman, all of that, and equate it with cheating. And like, basically, what a way to project what he's been doing onto her. And then Nell says that Melody never asked her to pick sides, but Martell has. And Martell is like, well, if she up here digging a grave for me and y'all supporting her, then hell yeah, y'all picking sides. And Melody is doing shit behind their back and his back, and he's trying to send him and she's trying to send him to jail and shit. This is what Martell is saying. And then Tisha says that Martell has never asked him to pick sides, but he has said right is right and wrong is wrong. And you can just tell Martell is very, very defensive right now. And that Melody just told all of y'all that she cheated because when she went to the apartment, they were still married. This is what Tisha says. Stormy says, yeah, but y'all weren't together. No, maybe that was what Martell said. And Stormy says, yeah, but y'all weren't together and that it doesn't matter. And Stormy says that even though they were still married, it doesn't matter because they weren't together. And again, they go down the rabbit hole, this, that, and the third. And so Kimmy asks, so Stormy, you're saying that, so whatever the first spouse does, if they cheat, then basically whatever after that doesn't really matter. And Stormy is like, yeah, if they think it's over, like officially done, yeah. And Melody says that she had talked to 2 to 5 attorneys when she had moved out to get those papers. And Martell was like, what do you mean? And she was like, what, you thought I just moved out for fun? And in her confessional, Melody says that when she first found out about Martell cheating in March of 2017, she moved out and started talking to attorneys to look at her next steps. And she did go out on a few dates. And like, again, low key, she finally admitted it. Like, it's been season after season after season of her basically saying, I ain't cheat, I ain't cheat, I ain't cheat. She would throw in there a few times, yeah, I went on a date, but finally she's admitting, like, yeah, I was talking to some people when I left him. And it, whatever, it is what it is. Like, okay. And then she said that she thought their marriage was over and that she knows for a fact that Martell gets excited when it seems like things aren't going well for her, because it makes him feel like that if she isn't doing well, then she'll come back to him, or if she can't provide for herself, then she'll come back to him. And then Marceau says that Melody has been evil to them, so he picks Martell's side from the jump. And Melody asks him what she did that was so evil to them, and that she wasn't checking for them, and that he's like, girl, please. She's like, Marcel put batteries in people's backs like he did to her while they were married. And then Marceau is basically like, it's worth the conversation to Tisha about this whole Keke thing because she felt betrayed. And Melody was like, I had no idea that Nell talked to her. And then Melody says, thank you for telling me this is how Tisha feels, so we can talk in privately and, figure it out. And in her confessional, Melody says it's imperative for her to make it clear that she didn't make that call to invite Keke to Houston. And then they show a clip of Keke and Melody chatting like a week or two before they went on the trip about what's going on, in the group. Keke asks what's going on in the group. Melody says that they're about to meet up at the restaurant, and the Fletchers plan the trip for them to Houston. And Keke says that she is willing to see Tisha's face. She's willing to see Tisha face to face and to admit to her wrongdoings. And Melody says, well, maybe you should reach out to Miss Nell and maybe she'll invite her to come by. And Melody, just because you didn't call Keke, like, girl, come to Houston, call Nell and see if you come to Houston, that doesn't mean that you didn't extend the invite to Keke, period. You extended it first and then you took it back. Okay. And then you want to sit there and lie and say, no, I didn't do that. So basically, for this little part, Tisha and Mel, they had a little conversation basically saying, I didn't make the call, I didn't know what was going on. And Tisha's like, well, thank you for clearing that up because I really thought that you had went behind my back, whatever. Again, Stormy and Martell going back and forth about the whole if it was over or not. And then Martell asked Nell, when you and Chris were going through your thing, how long was it before y'all got back together? Like, how long y'all separated for? She said 18 to 24 months. So basically almost like 2 years, right? It's basically 2 years. And then Martell says, but you didn't sleep with nobody else? Oh, okay. And Nell says, well, everybody's different. And Martell says that it wasn't too much of a difference, not for Melody. And then in her confessional, Kimmy says it seems that they always get back to this chicken or the egg conversation, which is unfortunate, and that everybody has to take accountability for their part, and that it's tough. It's a tough conversation to have and watch. And then, oh, like I said, Melody talks to Tisha. They hash the whole shit out. Whatever. It's cool. And then Chris is kind of like, all right, let's cut this shit out. And he's like, all right, everybody, we about to go horseback riding. Like, we done with this situation. It is what it is. We done. And in his confessional, Chris says that Keke apologized, but he doesn't think she actually gets it and that it's not being received very well that she's there now. And for me, that's what Keke gets her showing up where she doesn't need to be. And then they finally get to the horseback riding. And in his confessional, Chris says that unfortunately Martell has derailed the whole Keke thing and that they almost got Keke out of there instead of being an option, instead of her like staying around being an option. And instead, Martell wanted to have the Melody and Martell show. And then Keke gets out of the car to attend the horseback riding. And in her confessional, Tisha says that Keke is hanging around like a ghost and that nobody really wants her here, but she's just going to ignore her and have a good time like she always does. And hopefully she doesn't trip like she did at Kimmy's house. The hosts at the farm for the horseback riding and stuff introduced themselves, and one lady is a couples therapist, and everybody was like, "Oh no, we know, we were signed up for this." And Mel was like, "I thought we was on horseback riding," and then they do, they do get on their horses, and Kimmy's like, "No, I'm not feeling it," because she's afraid of horses and stuff, and the therapist tried to calm her down, so they kind of go for a walk and stuff. And in her confessional, Tisha says that Keke could have ruined the trip, but all she wants her to do is respect the fact that she no longer wants to be a part of her life, not to interact with her or nothing, and that she's just done and over with her. And then the therapist, Dr. Dilworth, who's going to be doing the group counseling, she's chatting with Kimmy and asking her what's going on in the group. And Kimmy kind of gives her insight about how tense it's been and this, that, and the third. And Dr. Dilworth asks, "Well, do you think they'll be receptive to anything?" And Kimmy says, "Some of them, yeah, some of them, no." And I'm like, you need to tell her about how Dr. Francis used to chew their asses up. I bet you she'd be like, "Oh, okay." Dr. Dilworth says that she doesn't believe that anyone comes to her by accident, that it's all divine appointments. And Kimmy is like, "I'm all the way with that." But now we're in the confessional. Nell says that after they had dinner, she let them know, and they show a clip of her telling everybody that, they're going to be doing a group therapy session. And Chris says in his confessional that he thinks everybody settled down after the horseback riding and came to terms with Keke being there, and that Nell says she hopes that it stays that way after the session. And then Dr. Dilworth asked them how they're all doing, and some said good, some says not shit. She says, "Really, because I can tell that the energy is just real off here." And then they basically explain the whole Keke thing, how she showed up, ain't nobody want her there, she throwing drinks and shit on people, and how it's just like, Keke, did you think about how Tisha and Marceau would feel about you still being there, like showing up? Not, Keke says that if she apologizes and does what she should, she's not responsible for what people do after or how they take it, and that they can occupy the same space and move separate ways and not ever have to see each other, and that she's okay with that. And Stormy is being fucking annoying, saying that since Keke been there, she's had good energy, and that it's hard when you show up correct, and the past won't leave you alone. It keeps coming up to you. It's because, do you think anybody actually genuinely believes her apology? Even Kimmy Marie said, "Girl, it's 2 months too late." Like, and the fact that Stormy just keeps saying, "No, forgive her, forgive her, forgive her." It's not that easy. It's not that easy. Mm-mm. And Stormy says before they ostracize her because of the whole drink thing, they say that she shouldn't go on the trip because, they try and move forward, but they can't let the two cousins move forward because it's a lot, and that they shouldn't be there, and that, they should be getting along. And then Marceau says, like, Stormy, he wants to leave the door open for love, but, the best that he can do right now is just close it up, because he knows that right now it's not a place for healing, for forgiveness, for nothing like that. And in her confessional, Keke says that she definitely feels rejected, and that it's easy to look at Keke and says that she's a problem, but they don't know the dynamic between she and Tisha's relationship or all she's been through with Tisha. And Marceau says that the group as a whole has had a lot of progress, and he talks about how he and Melody had the conversation, how 2 years ago Melody would have said, "No, I said what I said, it is what it is," but she talked to Tisha, they apologized, they had their conversation, and they moved forward. And he's basically saying he sees everybody's growth. And then Tisha and Melody talk about how they're trying to work on their communication and just getting out their issues at the moment, not letting it simmer or whatever. And Nell was like, "Yeah, because, what it sounded like was that it was toxic before, and that y'all just needed time. And now y'all have had time to decompress and come back, and make everything okay." And in this confessional, Marceau says he thinks that when Melody and Martell first broke up, they all tried to jump in and get them back together, but it wasn't until everyone matured in their thoughts and thinking, and time would tell, when time told, and that it could have been considered an abusive relationship for them, and he could think the same for Tisha and Keke, and that same time has told, and that at the end of the day, you have to listen to what God said. And Tisha says and God said go. And y'all know that's Melody's catchphrase, okay? So basically what they're saying here is that time has told between Keke and Tisha's relationship, and then it's just done right now. And then Dr. Dilworth tells them that there's work that needs to be done. And in her confessional, Keke says that she's definitely left with questions about where she stands with certain people in the group over an incident that they saw that took years to build up to. And she apologized for what she did, but she isn't sorry that she did it, but she's sorry for the action. And I'm just like, so you're not sorry, okay? Like, I don't know. But that was the end of that scene. And I know y'all mad at me. I need to catch up. I know the reunion's been out, both parts, this, that, and the third. And I know I literally have one other episode left after this regular episode before I get to the reunion. But y'all just please bear with me. I'm trying to do it as fast as I can. But thank y'all. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you didn't enjoy it, make sure you dislike, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to see you on the next one.